Well, howdy, everybody. Hey, did you commit forbearance fraud? Did you do it? I know. Sounds scary, and there's a potential for it to be scary, but I think it's important that you understand if you did commit forbearance fraud, and maybe you even did it and you didn't even know you did it, why it's so important for you to know about and how to prepare for a potential that could be coming down the road. Hi guys, Anthony Nitz here, EXP Realty, Orange County, California. And you know, there's been a conversation that I've been having with people a lot over the last few months. And it's kind of interesting to me because I listen to a lot of real estate forums and groups and things like that, Clubhouse, whatever you have. And I get the perspective from a lot of different agents that there's a lot of agents out there who are taking the position that, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be just fine. And as a matter of fact, it's even going to get better. I was listening to a podcast today where that's what they're saying. They're like, it's all the stuff people are talking about, no big deal. And back in 2008, it's exactly what they were saying too. They were saying that too, and then everybody acted all shocked and surprised when things went sideways. So I'm sharing this information with everybody because I want you to understand that it's my position, it's my belief, my feeling that if there is a potential for risk down the road, it is better to know about it and be prepared for it. And if it just trickles by and is no big deal, great, you are ready for it, okay? But there's a lot of people walking around with blinders on going, if I can't see it, it doesn't exist, right? And what ends up happening is a lot of devastation is a result of that. And again, go back to 2008. Everybody thought that was going to go on forever. I remember specifically the conversations that said it would go on forever. It didn't, right? It crashed hard. Now, albeit for totally different reasons. But what I'm talking about today very specifically has to do with forbearance fraud. And there's an important reason why you need to know about this. The reasons, well, first, before we do that, I want to point out that the government is even aware of forbearance fraud, and they're actually starting to note it. Actually, back in December, they were noting it. And if we're taking a look at, let's take a look at this document here. Actually, this is the Fannie Mae. It's basically their end of year earnings report and everything that they have to submit, Form 10K, so that they can, make sure that everybody knows, what's going on and all stuff. And if I did the search for the word fraud, there's that. There's always mortgage fraud that they deal with, but this one was particularly interesting. They talk about the increased risk of mortgage fraud in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. We are offering certain temporary flexibilities related to our single-family selling guide requirements. This could increase the risk of mortgage fraud relating to the loans we acquire during the COVID-19 pandemic. So that part of it is dealing mostly with new loans that they're getting and, the new stuff that's coming in. And there's always mortgage fraud. And I guarantee you somebody along the way has figured out, we can take advantage of this COVID-19 thing in the lending business side of things, and fraudulently give people loans or refinances or whatever it is. I don't know. But it's more importantly is the second part here. It says, in addition, the CARES Act provides that a single family borrower may obtain a mortgage payment forbearance with no additional documentation required other than the borrower's attestation to a financial hardship caused by COVID-19, which creates the risk that borrowers who are not experiencing financial hardship may request a forbearance. Okay, so if you recall, if you were one of those people who got a forbearance, basically you called them up and said, hey, can I get a forbearance? They said, are you having a hardship? You went, yeah. And they said, okay, here's a forbearance, right? You signed a document. Now, on that document, at least on the ones that I've seen, it says that basically that under the penalty of perjury that you are in fact having a hardship. See, because you got to understand, getting a forbearance is a very, very difficult thing to do for a lot of lenders. I mean, they run you through the ringer, and then in most cases, it's only about 3 months that they're going to give you a forbearance. It's like, hey, pay your bills, man. Okay, fine. You had a hardship, you lost a job, you had a medical situation or something like that, but so here's a little break, but pay your bills. And if you don't know how forbearance works and how it's going to get ugly for a lot of people really quick if something doesn't change, go back and watch my other video. My other video where I used about 1,000 Skittles to demonstrate how the forbearance process actually works. Just scroll back in my feed here somewhere. You'll find it. When it comes time to start making your payments, you're going to be in big trouble. Okay. Now, along that line, when we go back and we look at articles from like the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, you look at an article like this, it says CFPB proposes mortgage servicing changes to prevent a wave of COVID-19 foreclosures. And then this one here, CFPB compliance warns mortgage servicers that unprepared is unacceptable. And a lot of people are reading these articles and they're taking that to mean that it's up to the loan servicers to help the people who are in trouble with these loans and things like that. And I'm here to tell you, if you actually read between the lines and if you see what's been done in the past, you just look at history, right? History will tell you a lot. What they're actually saying, from my interpretation, this is my perspective, and somebody's going to argue that I'm totally wrong. That's okay. From my perspective, what they're saying is that being unprepared to help the borrower get through the foreclosure experience as quickly and painless as they can. So what does that look like? We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Let's go back to the whole fraud thing, right? So now we've got all this issue here with the potential for foreclosures coming down the road. Well, what happens when the market really tanks? Do you think that the CEO who gets paid a couple $1 million a year to run that or more, I don't know, do you think that the person running CFPB or the person running Freddie Mac or the people handling FHA and VA loans and all that stuff, do you think that they are going to take the fall for this? Well, Anthony, it's nobody's fault. It was a pandemic, right? But does that mean that forbearances had to be given so freely? Whole other conversation. But it's nobody's fault, right? But I will tell you from experience, because every single market crash that I've been through, every single one, big or small, there's always someone they have to blame. They're gonna blame somebody. And one of the prime targets, in my opinion, is going to be people who got a forbearance who didn't need it. If you go back to 2008, who'd they blame then? They blamed the appraisers. They blamed all the appraisers. It's the appraisers. They overvalued the homes. No, it was supply and demand. That's what it was. It was because the mortgage companies were giving out bogus loans, that these people should never have gotten. And so as a result, when their balloon came due in 5 years and they had to actually start paying the interest or the principal and the interest, including the interest or the principal that they didn't pay for the first 5 years, there was easy to see that it was coming, but yet everybody was so excited. But they picked the appraisers to blame it on because they were easy pickings. So do you think, are the appraisers responsible for all the forbearance market? No. But what's going to happen, and again, I'm just kind of, in my own mind, I'm thinking, what's going to happen is they're going to go, if all these people who didn't need a forbearance, didn't take out a forbearance, and then found themselves also in trouble, if that didn't happen based on our calculations, we would have been just fine. It's because of them. And so what happens when it's because of them or because of you, do they now start going back through those records, and do they start scrutinizing them and saying, well, you know what? We see that you got a forbearance, but, just so happens that, we have access to your tax returns too, because you sign the appropriate documentation to check your credit and your taxes when you have a mortgage with a mortgage lender. But we see your tax return, man, you reported that you made $130,000 in income this year, yet you got a forbearance for 18 months. Right? So now what? Now what? I don't know. I don't know what the now what is, right? I don't know if that means that they're going to, drop, send the cops over and slap some handcuffs on you or something like that. And I don't think it's going to get to that, but it's going to be not fun, whatever that is, if that's the route that they go. They might not go that route at all. I don't know. I'm just trying to think ahead of the game and give you fair warning that if you did that. So what would be the solution, in my opinion? The solution, in my opinion, is refinance. Okay. So if you have income, look, don't get me wrong. If you got a forbearance and you needed the forbearance, fantastic. Take advantage of it, because that was what it was there for. Relief for people who were experiencing a hardship due to COVID, which we know there was a lot of people. Forget the illness itself. Just the economic hardship that everybody went through is restaurants and businesses and everything are just shutting down because you can't work. Okay. So don't get me wrong. I'm not, saying that people shouldn't have got it if they needed it. Absolutely. But if you're one of those people, you said, hey, I'll not make a payment for a year. That's cool. Then, consider this, consider possibly doing a refinance. Okay. Because if you do a refinance now, while you have the income, while you have the credit, while you have all the, normal stuff going on, then, chances are, first of all, it's probably going to amortize out a little bit farther than what you currently owe. And the rates being what they are, they're going to go ahead and bring the payments down, right? So that's an option. Selling is an option too. Look, if you're going to get your forbearance notification that says, hey, your payment is coming due, and I've had several conversations with people already, just even over the last few weeks. So people calling me saying, hey, we're starting to get, just letters saying, hey, be aware, just, know that your forbearance, redemption period is coming. Okay. You're going to have to start making up those payments that you didn't make before. And usually they're within a 12-month period. Okay. The other option, discussed it in my other video, loan modification. Loan modification is probably, in my opinion, man, that's probably one of the best options. And I think because, again, you're probably going to be able to extend the length of your loan, reamortize a little bit, bring your payment down, actually, in a lot of cases, depending what interest rate you're at, and not have to worry about that, right? Because they're not going to suddenly be going back to people and saying, hey, you did a loan modification after you fraudulently took a forbearance. Probably not, because you took proactive action to make sure that didn't happen. Now, if you have the income and you can make your payments and you can make the redemption payments on the forbearance, well, fine. Just do that too, right? Just do that. And that way nobody's looking at you for anything. So I'm just, this is one of those things that's been on my mind. I'm going, what's going to happen if people really, if the market does really shift? And again, who knows? We're going a bunch of different directions. But if the market really does shift, then who are they going to blame? And this is one of the categories that I came up with. So anyways, I hope this information is helpful to you, at least giving you something to think about, be prepared for, and if you got any comments or anything, throw them in the chat, throw them in the wherever. Do the likes and the thumbs up and the shares and all that good stuff. It always helps just to kind of share this information with other people who might need to know about it. So anyway, hey, if we can help you out in any way, we're around. Anthony Nitz. Just whatever platform you're on, you should be able to just message me, DM me, whatever it is, or just type my name into a search, and I come up all over the place. So, all right, talk to you soon. Have a great day, and take care of your business if that is in fact where you end up getting a forbearance and you really didn't need it. All right, take care.